This one is sad and very, very strange. We're going to stay in Southern California for this one, Riverside, California. On February 19th, 1994, Gloria Ramirez was rushed to General Hospital in Riverside, California. A total of 6 staff members started feeling ill, and it was beyond explanation. They fainted, shortness of breath, nausea, and some even had temporary paralysis. And if you're wondering, is this an episode of Grey's Anatomy? Apparently it is, because when we did the episode of Ghost Town, a lot of people asked, isn't this an episode of Grey's Anatomy, which I've never watched. I know there's like 20,000 seasons. I don't believe I've ever seen an episode, but I take everyone's word for it. So Gloria Ramirez had late-stage cervical cancer, which explained her ill health. She had rapid heartbeat, low blood pressure, she had trouble breathing, and trouble communicating with the staff. Nothing they were doing was helping to bring her vital signs back to normal. When one of the doctors attempted to use a defibrillator, they noticed a shiny, oily sheen all over her whole body. And then another member of the staff noticed that she had a smell of a fruity, garlicky odor. And when they attempted to get a blood sample from her blood smelled like ammonia. What's even stranger, there was manila-colored particles in her blood. One of the doctors realized that something wasn't right with Gloria Ramirez, and it wasn't just the heart failure. So at that point is when things got strange. One nurse passed out, and when she woke up, she couldn't move her arms and legs temporarily. They evacuated the ER because people started dropping, literally. A special team came in with hazmat suits to try to find out if there was any gases, if there was something in the hospital itself that was contributing to what was happening to the staff. And they could not find anything. When word got out, the press referred to Gloria Ramirez as the toxic lady. They then put Gloria Ramirez's body in an aluminum casket. It took a week before they even did an autopsy because it was too intense for the team to work on. And they conducted 3 autopsies. The first autopsy was 6 days after she died. The second one was 6 weeks. And then the last one was right before her burial. So more than a month after Gloria Ramirez passed away, the team found there was Tylenol, lidocaine, codeine, and Tegan in her system. Tegan is an anti-nausea medication and creates an ammonia, which could explain the ammonia smell in Ramirez's blood sample at the hospital. Also, the toxicology report indicated that she had dimethylsulfone in her, which is DMSO. The normal amount of DMSO has about a 3-day half-life. So within 3 days, it's in and it's out. But Gloria Ramirez had so much, she had 6 weeks worth of it in her. 3 weeks later, April 12th, 1994, officials announced that Gloria Ramirez died of heart failure due to kidney failure brought on by late-stage cervical cancer. And she was diagnosed with cancer 6 weeks before her death. So it was very, very quick. And as I can imagine, you'll do whatever you can to try to prolong life. DMSO was something that was touted as a homeopathic remedy for curing a lot of things, and one of them supposedly helped with cancer. And Gloria Ramirez was so toxic that it took 2 months after she died to actually have a funeral because of how potentially dangerous it was. Gloria Ramirez's sister blamed the hospital for negligence, and I guess the hospital had a lot of violations in the past. You can't help but think what went wrong at this hospital, what went wrong with these doctors and nurses. And initially, the coroner and the ER said that the staff was sickened by the smell of death, and it was mass hysteria that led to the nausea, shortness of breath, passing out, and then waking up and not being able to move your arms and legs. And Dr. Gorshinsky was in the worst shape. She was in the hospital for 2 weeks. She had trouble breathing, apparently came down with hepatitis and pancreatitis and bone rot in her knees based on her interaction and contact with Gloria Ramirez. And it was found that Gloria Ramirez covered herself with DMSO from head to toe, many, many layers of it over long periods of time, probably every day. DMSO it's still sold, and I'm vaguely familiar with it as far as being like a topical for various things. But even in 1965, it was deemed toxic. And in 1965, doctors were smoking. Seatbelts were not an issue. So for the medical community recognized that DMSO in 1965 was dangerous and toxic, that says something. And Gloria Ramirez had a lot of it on her over long periods of time. And if there's a 3-day half-life for a small amount, imagine essentially always being covered in it for weeks at a time, days at a time. I'm assuming it's probably unprecedented, probably something that doctors and nurses were not prepared for. Of course, there's always some kind of conspiracy that the hospital had an underground meth lab and the meth fume exposure would cause those things to happen to people. So the connection was made that perhaps bags removed, something opened in the underground meth lab that was happening at this hospital, and that's what caused everyone to faint and all those things to happen. I don't even know if those things happen to people that are exposed to meth fumes. I'm not an expert in it, but it seems like a real stretch. If you're familiar with this case and you have anything to add, let me know, let us know, put it in the comments below. Please subscribe for more, hit the like button, and check out the episode of Ghost Town about the toxic lady. The link is below. Thank you so much.